just said I'm in too deep. Waters I tread can't catch my breath. A shadow chasing me, a game of hide and seek. Found now have a key.
Okay, so before we get started here, the first thing I noticed is Aunt Jur's comment in the this is a stupid show. Couldn't agree with you more, Aunt Jur.
Nailed it.
Is it the show that's stupid? The guest they don't like? What's so stupid about
It's
it?
probably me.
Probably us.
I'm the dumbass. But anyways, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today we have my friend Justin Yahooligan, and apparently I fucking doxed him today. So
It's not doxing. It's fine.
you're welcome.
That's all right. It was starting to get out there anyways because the Facebook friends are expanding exponentially. Like I had zero movement on my Facebook in like 10, 12 years or something like that. And then you go to one atheist conference and suddenly you make 1,800 new friends. So it's all good.
Oh, he's like us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all
my
good.
blue sky's blowing up, which is crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, I need to start pushing that a little bit more, but
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to like
Right.
I'm all about the let's just get rid of Twitter. Let's just,
Yeah.
You have a link tree?
I have a link tree, yeah. Is
Fuck,
PC out
and
there
I-
just like
I-
link treeing me right now?
Yeah, pieces link
Actually-
tree, and yeah, and I just like holy fuck, and I went and took all the time and put like YouTube channel number 1, YouTube channel number 2, your Facebook, your Twitter X, whatever, your Blue Sky, your fucking
Yeah.
Twitch, your whatever, all that
I
shit.
still gotta add
I
Blue
linked
Sky to the
everything.
link tree, but yeah. Actually,
Well, there-
PC
Never mind.
PC made me do it. She's like,
Who
you got to
need-
do the link tree. So I
Who
did.
needs a
PC
link
is
tree when you got Neil? He'll just do it all for you.
PC is literally god level.
Yes. Best mod.
She's the PC's the level that God level mods want to get to. Never mind God level.
She's the provable. She's the evidence of God level.
Deedly doodly. Anyway, Justin, recently I had a chat with you over on your channel, so if everyone
Yeah.
wants to go check that
we
out,
we also did a Skeptic Haven together.
that's right, and there will be more coming too.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we do here on this show is we chat about how we found our way free from the religious beliefs or whatever kind of beliefs you once held. It could be anything really. Even if you used to believe that if you put a crystal on your forehead, it would get rid of your headache.
It does.
Some people believe that.
I was gonna make the same joke. I wasn't fast enough.
Quick draw McGraw, baby.
Oh man.
So why don't you take us on that journey? And Mikey and I'll probably interrupt you multiple times with silly questions. So
Before you get started,
yeah.
Before I get started, what?
we'll interrupt you.
Oh yeah. No, yeah.
Moo.
Well, thanks.
Sorry.
We are
Entertain
adults,
us, mule. Go.
too.
Well, let me just thank Neil and Mikey for having me over here. It's an honor, a pleasure.
Those guys are dicks.
I mean,
Hate those dudes.
I know. I mean, you guys are fantastic. And actually,
No.
the episode with Neil over on my little tiny channel over there on the other side of the tracks.
Go up to him.
It's actually
Do
for
it.
my basic like skeptic spin episode. The Neil episode is one of my bigger ones, believe it or not.
Really?
So, yeah. It's got more views
My
than the
master
Seth
plan is
Andrews.
working.
You've got more. You've got more views. I believe there's more views on your episode than even like the Friendly Atheist and.
Then Hammett, get out of here! Not a fucking.
Let me go double check. Yeah, you're in the top.
Damn,
You're in
Neil,
the
you
top of
putting
my
up
popular.
Mehmet Meta number.
Go double check it here, but I remember checking the analytics because I just hit 500 subscribers, so I've been like analytics. But if I sort by popularity, Neil's in my top 10.
Wow.
There.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
230.
Y'all better
views.
recognize.
Yeah.
I'll try to work on that.
Yeah, the
All right,
only
so-
2 standard episodes that you didn't pass of the shows I do over there. So the ones where I do the YouTube shorts and watch, react, and
Tell me who I
got
got to yell at.
Secularity and the guys from
Elliot.
Baja.
Damn it,
Yeah.
Elliot.
Fuck you,
Um,
Elliot.
Fucking hate Elliot.
Yeah, even you even like doubled Godless Engineers views. So
Damn.
What?
He is
what
an
I'm doing.
engineer.
yeah, you killed it. Everybody
I
liked
think-
that episode so much. So we either have a chemistry or you guys are like bribing people. I don't know, but
So here's what you do, Neil. You got to go in, mass report everybody in front of you. Therefore, you're the winner.
I'm not going to do that. I like those guys.
They'll get over it. They'll forgive you. They're
What
nice.
was I going to say? Hang on here. I'm doing an episode of the Let's Talk with Godless Engineer, actually.
yeah, John's awesome.
Yeah. This weekend on the 22nd.
Or
I
plot
did one
twist.
last week.
Plot twist. Neil, you just go on again and then beat them.
We can do another episode and we can tally the views, and that will.
There you
count.
go.
There you go.
I've got Aaron Raw coming on next week, so
Oh man, you're in trouble, Neil.
Welcome to fourth place, Neil.
Yeah, I was about to say.
well, to be fair,
Uh-oh.
Aaron I've hosted before on a slightly different channel.
Mhm.
So he's my first like two-timer. He's the first person to come back a second time.
Two-timing bastard.
But anyways, yeah. So thanks a lot.
Aaron's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I love Aaron, and for him to reach back and like help
Yeah.
out the little guys is really cool.
Yeah.
Super cool,
and,
dude.
And my real life Aaron story, I don't know if he appreciates me telling it, but I think it's so endearing. The idea of sitting next to him at a table at BajaCon while people are on stage speaking, and every 2 minutes he's showing me another puppy short. Like, check out this puppy. Look at this puppy. And, like, you would think he watches snake videos all day, but no, it's puppies. Here's puppies.
Oh, he likes his puppers too. You are a
Yeah.
human. That's what you are, and welcome.
But yeah, so I guess this is deconversion stories, and
Correct.
you know, I was thinking a lot about this, and I think I mentioned it to you in the past already, Neil, that like for
You
me,
need
I
an
don't
Advil
feel
now?
like there's what?
You need an Advil now, or
You're right.
No. I'm just saying that
Poor
like
brain.
I don't feel like I have a hard like that's it, I'm out situation with this.
Mhm.
But I feel like if we were to like categorize deconversion stories, I think you could probably put people's deconversion stories into categories. There's probably traumatic ones. There's probably like hard, like, wait a minute moments that stop people in their tracks and go, hold on, I need to reevaluate things.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine might be the most common one, maybe, because I went to Catholic school most of my life, for example, but I never really like bought into it.
I
For
hear
me-
you. That's me with the Hebrew school. Same thing.
Yeah, it was kind of just that annoying thing you put up with once a week because
Right.
you had religion class or there'd be
Yeah.
some ceremony of some kind going on.
Like a chore.
Yeah. Oh man, it was absolutely a chore. That's the best word I've heard for that. Yeah, because inherently it wasn't like necessarily a bad thing. It was just like, now we got to invite family to a thing on a Sunday morning because we're all rehearsing this thing. And like, I remember so vividly for first communion. So I was raised Catholic. Let's start there. Okay.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people will share this sentiment. It was like everyone got up Sunday morning. You put on your Sunday's best, as they said, right? That's literally what it was.
Yep.
The suit and the tie. It didn't matter if you were 4, you had a suit and tie you were putting on.
Yeah.
And the whole family met at church. It wasn't just go to church and that's my church community. Grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, cousins were all waiting outside of the church in their Sunday best, waiting for everyone else to show up because you walked into this. And Catholicism in Canada, and I think Neil will agree, like the churches are massive. These are auditoriums.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like the most beautiful actually buildings. And the
Oh,
family
sure.
walks in
Many
together.
churches are really, really, really nice.
Yeah. And you walk in together as the family, and usually
Right.
being a French Catholic, it was grandma leading the way.
Mozicoles.
Yeah. Aussi tabarnak, goddess. Aussi boy. Oh yeah, I could do that all day.
Poutine.
Yeah.
So I just want to point out a little point of distinction. Not all Canadians are the same.
You
See,
stink.
you guys,
No.
You guys
Definitely
all treat Canadians the same. Neil doesn't speak all that French stuff all the time. Neither does Ollie Man or Simply Secular Dave. So they're not all the same. Some of them speak French
West
too.
Coast, it's very different, man.
Actually,
Alberta, Saskatchewan, BC, there's no French on
I would,
our street signs.
as someone who's like traveled to every province and territory, including our Arctic Circle,
really?
I can tell you that it's actually Ontario and Quebec that are the weird ones. It's the other provinces that are they're Canadian, right? So like Ontario thinks it is Canada. So everyone in Ontario thinks we're the center of the universe.
Yeah.
If you're not doing it our way, you're doing it wrong. Okay. Quebec just wants to be left alone. They just like leave and I'm French Canadian, so I can say that. They just want to be like, leave us alone. We don't want your English butts in here.
Let us be weird.
You Anglos, you pay no attention over here.
Yeah. We don't care that our red lights have no timer between them. We just go red to green. Boom. You better be ready to go or you're getting run over. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
And you can't turn right on a red light in Quebec, so don't try. Well, you can now.
That's crazy.
What?
There's some places here you can't do that. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That's
terrorism. There'll be a sign where,
Yeah. I think in the city of Montreal, it's
right
still against the law.
Like if your car's
you just gotta wait.
Yeah. To put it another way that makes sense, let's put it this way. In America, you guys have like 100 different levels of police, right? We've got sheriffs, we've got marshals, we've got local police. You guys all have in America so many different police. And then you've got your FBI, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in Canada, we have, what do we have, Mikey? You should know the answer to this.
The Royal Mounted Police Corps.
Correct. Except where, Neil?
Except in Quebec.
And Ontario. So
oh yeah, you guys have the OCP.
OPP.
OPP, sorry.
Yeah,
you know me.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Yeah. You know we did that when that song was big. But, yeah, so Ontario and Quebec are so arrogant. They're even like RCMP. No, you don't have jurisdiction here. We're gonna have our own. We'll do our own. So we've got the Ontario Provincial Police, and then Quebec has their own. The name
we've got
at the moment.
Different cities have their own police force, but the
we also do. Yeah.
Around.
Yeah, like there's the Niagara Regional Police for me where I am. Yeah, there's local police, but then there's the OPP and whatever Quebec has, and then the RCMP, the Canadian Mounted Royal Police, which would be the equivalent of the FBI, right? So it's Ontario and Quebec that are the weird ones.
CSIS was the Canadian FBI.
Maybe it is.
I about to say Dudley Do-Right was a federale. Oh.
Yes, he was.
Riding a moose.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know how we found this rabbit hole, but yeah. So
that was interesting.
Welcome to my show.
Yeah, exactly.
I love a good rabbit hole. It's great.
Thing about rabbits. No, I'm just kidding. Done.
Oh,
but the family meets.
You didn't warn me about Mikey, man. This guy is fantastic.
But the family meets at mass.
Yeah. So, and everyone walks in together, and everyone sits together, and the younger children are usually like kneeling on the floor with their coloring books and coloring on the bench because, God forbid, you were to be like a pain in the butt and embarrass mom, right? Like,
oh, don't do it.
Yeah,
that's a whooping.
That's a pinch.
Yeah.
And
if you ever thought, and if you ever thought church was boring, go to a Catholic mass. Snooze fest.
I gotta give it to them though. They get in and out, baby. It's 90 minutes total. Total screen time. They don't fuck around, man. They get out of there.
Absolutely right. I never thought of that. You're absolutely right.
Black folks will be at church all day. Service might start at 11.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But there wasn't an electric guitar in sight. Like that wasn't.
No drums to be seen.
Nope. And if you thought that was boring,
right there.
You should try a French Catholic mass. Good grief. Idea.
Just quiet.
No, thank you.
And this is before like technology really got user friendly, right? So there's no microphone either. So you've got a 1,000 seating cathedral church, and some little tiny French dude on the front stage just yelling out passages, and you have to listen for the moment where you're supposed to respond.
Lord, hear our prayers.
Yeah,
Ferme la bouche, Jason.
And Mikey, warning. So good. And the thing that always got me as a kid And for anyone who's Catholic, you'll probably appreciate this. The thing that always got me as a kid was when the priest would say something and the whole room in unison would respond.
Oh, dude, that's so weird for non-Catholics. Holy shit. That weirded me out.
And it's not the same thing. It's not like the priest says amen and the room says amen.
Right.
It's the priest says like, sentence. I don't even remember what the cues were anymore, but this priest would say a thing and the room would in unison go, and may he go with you. And you're just like,
I'm looking on the paper. I'm like laughing with my buddy. I'm like looking on the paper. I'm like, where the hell are the lyrics? Like, how do y'all know this?
Yeah, it's like those weird teen movies where they're at the prom and the whole room knows the dance moves to the song that's playing. And you're like, did you guys rehearse this for a year before you went
choreographed?
Yeah.
You guys are really good at this.
Yeah, that always tripped me out. And then I went to did the whole first communion thing. And that was when the beginning of when I was like, I was starting to get old enough to start to go kind of like, what are we doing? What is this? Like, I don't understand.
Explain.
Well, so for me,
why am I here?
The school I went to was also the school that was attached to the church we went to. So they just shared the same name.
Pretty common. Where they have that.
Yeah. So the school takes care of the arrangements for your first communion, which normally takes place around the second grade or grade 2, depending on whether you're Canadian or American. And we would spend like day after day for like months rehearsing this. Like they would walk us into the room in perfect line, like single file, according to height, which of course I was at the back of the line. I've always been tall. I was always the last one to come in, and we got to wear the gowns. And then there would be a couple people would go to say a prayer, and then there'd be the first time we do our communion. So if you don't know, in Catholicism, the first communion is the first time you're allowed to go take the Eucharist, that little cracker. That's you can't have it until you've done your first communion. So until that point, you're technically just a kid drawing coloring books on the bench, right? Up until then, that's what you do. Once you're done your first communion, now you're expected to like sit, kneel, stand, and do everything with everybody.
Gotta follow the rules.
Follow the rules.
I heard
learn your choreography.
Yeah. Apparently that's when they taught us how to respond, I guess, to those cues that I mentioned that to this day I have no idea what they were anymore. It just shows how much I cared. And
if they just had one of those little dance charts on the floor to help newbies, like that would just be nice. Just like left foot here, right knee there.
My favorite part was actually practicing to take that
because
little.
You were a Jew, Dale. Jeez, come on. We don't do that. Or when I say we, I mean I was Jewish too.
I never had a first communion. How many people do they have? I don't understand.
I don't either. Apparently, neither does he. So that's why the question.
Basically, anybody who's Catholic has to have a first communion. So in my case, it was everyone that was in my class, right? So in grade 2,
the record for the most communions.
Okay, Pat Robertson.
Yeah. Well, that was actually like my favorite part of rehearsing for the first communion was the days we would practice with the cracker. Because they actually are pretty good. I could totally see a priest between mass just watching like Super Bowl or football, and he's just mowing down on those Eucharists.
Holy crap! They're just entire Jesus.
Yeah, they're just like melt in your mouth, kind of like yummy. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, the only reason the moment for me when it became like for real, was the fact that during the entire when we were doing the first communion for real. They invited all of the family. So like people traveled now. So it wasn't just grandma and whoever was local. It was like cousins from other provinces and stuff were now like, so like my family that was still all the way up in Quebec, for example, was driving 8 hours to come watch me do a first communion. Wow. And I'm just like, oh man, just for this. And then we would all go to the pancake house after. And then I was given this gold necklace with a cross on it. And I was just like, yeah, bling, cool. That's
hell
awesome.
Yeah, I'm shining like a mug.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Did that little fucking bling thing get you some free pancakes at the pancake house or no?
Hell yeah.
I don't know, man. I was in second grade. Like I wasn't paying a bill.
Pancakes on
I
the
was the
house,
one that
second
I
grade?
couldn't stay in
Wow.
my
Fuck,
I couldn't
went up on
stay in
me.
my chair. I'm running around just like
right.
I'm having fun with all my cousins I haven't seen in years because
He's
they came
tearing
down.
that
Sounds like a
IHOP
bar
up.
mitzvah.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, except no money. I just got gold.
Well, that sucks.
One
Gold,
necklace.
just gold.
How much Jesus has you eaten, Justin? Not enough. I'm telling you, those Eucharists are actually pretty good. You need a little dip, man, and they'd be rocking, honestly.
We have a
plant-based ranch.
We have a friend of the show that what did Ben call it? Like Jesus flakes or something, and took a
Jesus
whole
crisp or something.
it took a whole bowl of the freaking communion
like
wafers
cereal.
and then poured wine on it and ate it like cereal.
Yeah.
Worst thing they've ever eaten, and they ate some nasty shit on that stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But I mean, that was the beginning. I knew I was indoctrinated. I was in the cult. But I never really bought it. I never really bought when they're telling you the stories about Jesus and God and everything. Your audience is so funny, dude. I can't keep straight. I just can't. Between Mikey and the chat is just like
I trained them.
I'm so sorry.
it's all good. It's amazing.
Communion toast crunch.
I like the tons of mice.
Winner!
Bad news, Justin. Your cousins came for the pancakes, not the first time.
yeah.
Like,
Well, because
yo,
in
is there
Niagara
pancakes
Falls,
on
we
there?
actually have like a big ass pancake house, like not an international house of pancakes or anything, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean maple syrup.
It's probably better than IHOP. Let's be real.
Yeah, I love those international. Like the moment you walk in there, you can just feel the air of being somewhere else. It's like, what are you talking about? It's a fucking
Ooh.
pancake house.
You just start hearing sitar music and shit. It's like, oh, this is international. There's like some fucking incense and shit.
Yeah.
Everyone's from a different country. Welcome. Oh shit, this is international.
Probably the closest moment that I have for like an actual moment, like if we want to talk deconversion, and like I said, I don't think I have like a hard I quit moment, but if there was
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, if there was a triggering event that caused me to rebel against the religion, if you will, it would have been the day of the confirmation. So another one of these ceremonies in the Catholic Church where now you're in like the 6th grade and you have to go back and do another ceremony for confirmation.
More pancakes.
Yeah, well, it was less of a big deal at this point now. I mean, most of the family was older and had their own kids and stuff. I was really young compared to the rest of my family. Like my parents kind of had me late in as far as the generation gap goes, is pretty big. But I remember this much. I remember that the school was very much like, it's optional. This isn't mandatory. This is kind of like you guys don't want to do it, just have your parents sign this thing.
Right.
Says you don't have to do it and you don't have to do it. Cool. I'm out. I'm not doing it. Go home and I'm like, Dad,
I choose no.
Yeah, sign this. My dad, honestly, was like, cool. There you go.
I don't want to drop you off anyway.
Yeah, I didn't want to be there anyway, so whatever.
Sick of chaperoning all your stupid stuff as soon as there's a game on.
Yeah.
Hey, you found your way.
And then remember Grandma, the one that led the pack into the church? Sweetest old woman you ever met, right? Like French woman. If there's any French Canadians in the audience right now, they'll understand and be like, no one made a meat pie like this woman. They know that. Like the best chef ever, and never said no to nothing to anybody. The sweetest person, the kind of person, you know, when you're at the family dinner, and she comes over and she's like, do you want more? And if you only want a little more, all you do is tell her you don't want any and you'll just get a little more. And if you actually don't want any more, you'd have to shoot her. Like, that's the only way this happens. That's the kind of woman she was. And she shocked me when I decided I didn't want to do confirmation. And she told my dad that I must not love her then.
What?
Yes.
No
the
way.
Nicest, sweetest, quietest, most demure woman you ever met in your life played a guilt card on her 12-year-old grandson.
Oh, wow.
To do confirmation. Dude. I was like, yo. And even my dad, we had a private, like, father-son talk at the foot of the bed, kind of like, even my dad was like, well, your grandma is claiming you don't love her. if you don't do this. And even
Wow.
he knew, you could tell looking in his face, he's like, this is fucked up. Because he would have
I no
never
doubt.
made me do anything. But he
Like,
passed on the message.
did anyone try and coax you maybe at all, or like?
What do you mean
"Come
by
on, just do it? Like, who cares? Just do
well,
it.
you
don't have
didn't
go
need to
church."
coax me much more. I was in after that.
Oh, so you mean when Grandma said that, you were like, "Fuck, I better do it."
Well, so it's a zero-sum game, right? Like, I don't care. Like, I didn't care. It meant nothing to me. It was of no importance.
Right.
It was meaningless. And in that meaninglessness, it meant nothing to me, but clearly to someone who would have done anything for me, it meant the world.
Right.
Right? So it's kind of like a don't fight it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, I guess I could say the sentence, just let it happen. Right? Like,
Yeah.
so I went through with it. I was half-hearted all the way. Like, believe me, I was a pain in the butt getting set up with the whole, like, doing the ceremony and the rehearsing and stuff. I was like, this is getting old pretty quick. But yeah, she started giving me the whole, like, well, if you don't confirm, you can't get married. I guess in Catholicism, you cannot go to the next step of getting married if you aren't confirmed. Right. My first thought was, I'm 12. When am I getting married? Like, when is this? Like, I wasn't even committed at that point that I would ever even get married, honestly. Part of the reason being
12, that's not surprising.
Well, my parents were divorced at that point too.
Oh, yeah.
And my dad's philosophy at that stage was, don't ever get married. Like, those were words he was actually
don't do it,
saying.
son.
I'm 12. He's
Me
like,
too.
just don't do it. Just don't bother.
I tried it once and almost a second time.
Yeah. It wasn't until my dad's later stages of life, before he passed away, where he told me that, like, his current girlfriend, he would have taken all that back. If he wasn't sick with Alzheimer's, he's like, I would have married her in a second. He's like, if it wasn't for Alzheimer's, I'd be down married again. So if he went from don't ever get married, kid, we've done that. He went right back to, like, no, you know what? So he was with her right up until the end. So, I'm not, again, for me, it comes back to that confirmation moment. It doesn't mean anything to me. So, you want to get married?
In the chat there,
let's go get married. Justin's grandma, amazing. You really disappointed me, grandson. No more pancakes for you. Oh man, she never made pancakes. That's why we went out for pancakes. Don't you see? Aren't you understanding this? We don't go out for dinner if grandma can do it at home.
She's saying she's not footing the bill no more.
Yeah.
You're paying for your own cakes from now on. Not putting a bill on no more hot cakes.
But yeah,
does anyone call them flapjacks anymore?
Hell yeah.
I think that's technically a different thing.
Cool people.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure it's technically a different thing. Just like crepes are not pancakes either.
Well, there's a cartoon, I think, too.
Flap. Jack.
Google it.
Oh, there's a place called Flapjacks.
Is it a strip club?
It's a brewery. Even better, it's a brewery.
It's a brewery.
Strip club.
Flapjacks. Ladies,
home of the G-string twerk. Flapjack. Sorry, now I can't get that out of my head.
Oh,
that
that's
rabbit hole is a
funny.
weird one.
Flapjacks, home of the helicopter spin.
Oh God! No, it's a male strip club.
What a flapjack it have to be.
It's so funny. I went out for dinner with my wife and her work employees and stuff like that, and we went to a Chinese restaurant called Happy Jack's. So there.
It looks like here we go. Flapjacks are made with oats, butter, and sugar, and often served with honey. Pancakes are made of batter, eggs, milk, flour, and can be served with sugar, lemon, jam, or syrup, and butter.
There you go.
So oats versus flour.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's flour made out of? This is stupid.
Wheat. Isn't it wheat? Huh?
Yeah.
You can have oat flour.
Yeah, you can make any grain into a flour. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Whatever. Flapjacks are the The crystal loving cousins of the pancake.
Let's put
little
Answer's
wooey.
question up there for me because I actually have a great.
Oh,
So the answer to
Justin
that question
make
of
for
what did
breakfast?
Justin's grandma make for breakfast if not pancakes? So this is how amazing Grandma Frechette was. Okay. I liked having hot soup for lunch at school, but an
Ooh.
entire package of soup was too much for one kid to eat, and it meant it didn't fill a thermos, or it would overfill a thermos technically, right? So for breakfast, believe it or not, I had chicken noodle soup every day when I lived with her. So she would make the whole
Ooh.
package of soup. I would get fed half of the package for breakfast, and the rest of it got thermosed. And then she always undercooked it in the morning, so that by the time I got to it to lunch, it was perfectly cooked. I never had a soggy, like sloppy, squash shitty mess of chicken noodle soup by lunch. That's how skilled this woman was.
Bong and a blintz. That's a Mike Myers thing. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess if there's a moment that I could like, if I were to put a pin in, that is meaningful as far as deconversion goes, that was a moment that I didn't expect, was that guilt trip from grandma
Right.
about the confirmation. And that was just a
I thought you
couple
were
years
going to say
before.
with chicken soup, but yeah.
Yeah, no. And then that's right before high school where, now you're supposed to be all the way in Catholic, right? So now the Catholic high schools, you're just going through the Ash Wednesdays and all of the you're going through those motions. The cafeteria serves soup or fish every Friday.
Yeah, that was weird to me.
Yeah, that's
like because I didn't grow up around a lot of Catholic people. And then in high school, I was in a new area, and I was like, "What the hell is going on?
Yeah,
the lunchroom's all crazy. People got shit on their face. What is happening?"
Yeah. The only bonus to
religion,
being
you
a
say?
French Catholic high school is we had poutine.
There you go.
Ooh,
Yeah. That was
Poutine.
before poutine was all mainstream.
I haven't had it yet.
Before it was cool.
Yeah. I always get a little bit gatekeeperish whenever people talk about poutine being a Canadian food, because I guarantee you that every Quebecer gets a little pissed
Yeah,
when they start
'cause
talking
it's a
about
Quebec
poutine
food.
being
Yeah.
totally Quebec.
That's where it originated.
Yeah, and it was there before it was there for 50 years before it was even in the other provinces. So it used to be the only place to get it.
and then they sold out to corporate big poutine.
And then Chef Ramsay did it once on Hell's Kitchen, and it took off.
Uncle Roger made a short about it, and then it took off.
They've done stuff together, actually.
Yeah.
Chef Ramsay and Uncle
I remember
Uncle
Roger.
Roger.
I'm just remembering too having one of those Ash Wednesday ceremonies in my high school gymnasium where the priest came. He set up partitions for you because you got to do confession before you can do the whole. And you're supposed to write your sins on paper, and that's where the ash comes from. He burns it, and then you put the schmutz on your face, and you walk around all day looking dirty.
Schmutz.
Yeah.
Yiddish.
Yeah. I remember writing on my thing that I ain't done nothing wrong. So that's how against it I was by high school. I literally remember putting on that piece of paper to confess the sins. I didn't sin nothing. Screw that. I didn't do
Not a
anything.
jack.
No. And then that's when you find out the priest never reads them or looks at them because he just burned it and then
You
throws
didn't
it on
care. Not reading that
Oh,
shit.
boy.
Be reading all day. Just light it on fire. Give me the lighter.
Could have blown your nose in it and they would never know.
Yeah. And now I wonder, with all of the in the news now with Catholic churches and stuff, all I keep thinking about is
read a couple of them shits.
Was there anything going on backstage, if you will, in any of the Catholic churches that I had to go to? Because I was never an altar boy or any of that stuff, but I had lots of friends who were. You know what I mean? And
Any
now
of them say anything?
No, and that's what I mean. Because I guess that's just how the news works too, right? You see it reported.
Priest is going to be that way, right?
Yeah. And with the things like internet now and everything, this stuff is just reported more. so it's more accessible and everything like that. And I'm sure there was a time where like this was always going on, even in the Middle Ages, if you will. But back then it was kind of like, just shut up or I'll kill you, right? Like straight up. So it was less.
Yeah.
They'll brand you out a window.
Yeah, because like in the restaurant business, people will tell you for every complaint you get, there was 10 you didn't get.
Right.
Right. So if someone complains, if you have a restaurant and a customer complains that, you know, there's a hair in their food or something was undercooked or whatever, there was 10 people that had that happen to them that they just chose to say nothing. So you got to wonder a little bit, like for all of the people we see coming out today saying that the priest did a thing to me when I was an altar boy or whatever, there's probably 10 that just don't come forward.
There's a huge class action suit from the Catholic diocese around like Joliet and Chicago, and the corruption entailed due to them shuffling the priests around so nobody could prosecute them. And they would just move them from place to place to place. And then they were all just, you know, Father Gomez or Father Johnson or Father Smith. And there's 40 of them. And like, well, which one do you mean? This one? Oh, you meant this one? And then the classic shell game. So we won't know for real, because they blurred all the results in the data. You know, they intentionally smushed up all the cards so we can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, it's fucking shitty.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, I wonder now with the different schools that I went to and the different churches is like with and there was not just 2 or 3 altar boys, like there'd be like 6 or 7 of them. So, you know, and priests, there was 3 or 4 of them. So like statistically, there must have been somebody a little bit kind of icky going on somewhere in there.
Icky.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as gentle and political as possible, but honestly, it's
call it what
terrible.
it is. It's fucking horrifying, is what
it is.
So.
Well, the horrifying part is the assistance the Catholic Church gives to those accused. That's the part.
Yep, shuffles them around rather than punish them.
Yeah, the smoke screen.
Yeah, like I like cops. I think police are great and they generally do a good job. But I'm not stupid
Most of
enough.
them, yeah.
But I realize that like there's always in every organization there's a couple of bad apples. But when the organization goes, hold on, let me help you with this. Like we're just gonna shuffle you around and do a little maneuver.
They said it was against their First Amendment right to freedom of religion for them to divulge those people's names, and that's what they were tied up in the courts for.
That's bullshit.
Yep.
That's not freedom of religion fucking thing, anyways.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, right wingers, because those are the ones that are protecting them.
To molest kids, because if that's the case,
yeah,
maybe you should get out of that fucking religion.
Yeah, but by the time I got out of religion,
it could be part of your religion, but it's still against our law, and you will render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, which is that ass in jail. Because we don't give a damn about what your religion says. You're still going to jail for it.
Yeah, you've got the right to practice whatever religion you want in whatever way you want to. But if it's harming anybody or doing anything like that, then you need to stop.
That's where you draw the line.
Yeah, and it's not just in my rights. I don't want to see you doing it and ruining anyone else's rights.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much by the time I got out of high school, I was just grateful to be done with all the ceremonies. I was like, I don't have to do none of this stuff anymore.
No more rehearsals.
Yeah, my father was still involved with the church, even though he never really. He admitted to me that like he was never really a super believer. He would take grandma every Sunday because grandma loves it. But even after she passed, he still went because he was a musician and he very much loved the music, and they gave him full control over the music presentation there.
So, oh well, there you go.
Yeah, so for him it was just like. It's that classic issue of like, it's my community now. It's not the religion so much. It's like, these are the people that I know and love and put on a show and everything like that.
Sure.
So,
do you play any instruments?
Oddly enough, no.
What?
Yeah, my dad could play like many instruments and I didn't. I ended up like the sound guy. So that's kind of where
you're in the booth.
It was more convenient for dad. It's like, I don't need you to play. I got people that play instruments. I need you to watch the volume because these old Catholic ladies, it's always too loud.
Gain.
No, it was volume. This way. Gain. It was this way. It was always like because
Yeah.
there's like
We're
60,
blowing the
70-year-old
speakers out.
French Catholic women are just like, it's too loud.
Oh,
Oh my
dude.
goodness, I can't hear much.
Yeah, that would be the worst.
Yeah.
That would be the worst, having to be the sound guy for a bunch of old French Canadian women. It's like, so you want me to just turn it off?
Yeah.
Is what you're telling
Look,
me. I just turn it off.
Before that, he had his own like rock band. Like he was in a proper rock band and stuff. He's actually, as a teen, fairly popular from what I understand. He would actually travel from Montreal all the way to Windsor. So if you don't know geography, that's like all of Southern Ontario, which is a pretty big, area to cover as an 18-year-old. But he was a French rock band, which was why he was so popular. That would have been something that there wasn't a lot of, right? So in Canada, there's the province of Quebec, but throughout the country, there are French communities. Like the town I live in's got a French community. I guarantee you the town Neil lives in, there's a French community. Edmonton, for example, is a province that has a pretty strong French community. So he would,
Oilers.
yeah. So he'd be playing all of the like the French clubs, if you will, in the 70s. So through the 80s and part of the 90s, he had his own rock band. So I would help out as a kid and be the sound guy. And I was also the only one who knew how to set up. That part always pissed off my dad. How does the guitar player in my band not know how to plug in? That always bothered him. It was the funniest thing to him. The electric guitar player doesn't know how to plug his own guitar in. The keyboard guy doesn't know how to hook up his keyboard. So he asks, swear to God, like
they always just plug it into the nearest jack to them. They don't look at the jack. They don't read the jack. They plug it in the headphones. They don't know what they're doing.
Mikey knows exactly what
they have no idea what they're doing.
The guitar player can plug into his amp, but it stops there.
Yeah.
He still needs to get the sound to the main sound system, right? So that's another. Did your father play at Flapjacks? No. But if they paid him, he would have.
I did, and let me tell you, most gracious audience. Just, I mean, so much love in that room.
Yeah. Oh yeah, flinging their honey flapjacks at you.
They were ready for me to come out in my banana hammock, so that's how I perform. I chose to perform that way.
Wow. The rails, we are now off.
I went up there. Remember Dick Van Dyke?
We're doing rails? Cool.
Remember Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins? I went up there and did a one-man band kind of routine. It was great.
In a G-string?
Had a guitar, had a bass drum on my back, an accordion on my stomach, harmonica, guitar. It was great. Keyboard.
Harmonica guitar? What's that?
I'll tell you when you're older.
When I'm older. Oh, yeah. I'm going to be underground if I get any older.
Nah. You're like, what, 30?
One of the clubs my dad used to play at frequently, they actually hosted like a 50th or 30th anniversary or something of his band from when he was a teenager. And I have all that on tape. So one day I got to get that uploaded to YouTube so that it'll live on forever.
I was about to say legacy time, dude.
Yeah.
Put that up.
Yeah. So there's my deconversion. Wasn't much. Maybe the grandma story was a little bit kind of like a hard highlight, underline,
down homey kind of thing.
Yeah,
I'm sure special thing.
I'm sure that for a lot of people, there's a moment for those of us who don't have big dramatic deconversion stories. I'm sure for a lot of people, there's a moment of a guilt trip put upon them, and they have to make a decision at that point. Whereas like my decision was like, I'll go through it for grandma because I care that little. It's like, she clearly cares. I don't care. So what's the harm? Right. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, well, okay, I don't know. I underestimated how important this was. Let's God all the way. And then there's probably other people that like went full rebel and just was like, screw you all. I'm going home. Like,
yeah, there were.
Screw you.
I love you,
guys.
grandma, but I'm not doing this because it's not beliefs I hold. So.
And then
thing with my bar mitzvah. So I didn't really come out and say that I wasn't a believer, but many of my friends knew at the time, and I'm just like, I'm just doing this because look at my parents, look how happy they are. Look at my grandparents, look how happy they are. Look at all the fucking checks I'm getting.
Yeah. So, the question I have for us right now would be: Would you consider us on the extremist level now of atheism, though? So,
No.
like, there's just like your average religious folks, your
I don't.
Christians and your Catholics and stuff, that they could take it or leave it. Even themselves, I feel like they just kind of like, that's just how I was raised. I'm just not going to stop because whatever, who cares, right? But
What
then
do you
there's
say
those.
extremist? What do you mean by that?
So that's what I'm trying to define right at the moment, right? There's those middle of the line theists, the ones that we even ourselves we wouldn't even give them much attention because we're not worried about them,
Yeah.
right? It's those extremist ones that we ourselves are kind of like, yo, this shit over here is bad. It shouldn't be allowed, right? Like the political pushing where they shouldn't be doing that, or like, the SA we talked about a second ago. We engage with that and point that out and are like, bad, stop. And we have hard discussions on that. Does that put us on the spectrum as the extremists on the other side? Or are we still pretty mild? Could we get crazier with this? We've got the YouTube channels. We're here having this discussion. Where are we on that spectrum?
I
don't know, but Ollie, quit sending me reels during the show.
I think the framing is really important. Like, because if we use their framing for it, then yeah, we seem like we're like complete and utter apostates and just like these super radical people. But that's coming from a lens that is all the way on a particular side. So instead of it being like a seesaw where there's like a left and a right side, it's like one side, it's like a tug of war. So there's like one strand of rope on one side and it's atheism or non-belief in general. And then on the other side, there's like the 100 other branches of things. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're rejecting just their thing. It is this entire pantheon of stuff that is illogical that we're just not on the team of. They're on our side with that too, but they have their little strand versus our big strand, and they're thinking that they have equal pulling force. And it's like, dude, you look puny. Like you're split 1,000 ways and we're not split at all. So
right.
that's up to them. Their position is so weak. But once you realize that you're just holding 1,000th of rope and they're holding a whole rope, the dynamic starts to shift a little bit. So I don't think we're extreme. I just think it's hard to get out of the 1 in 1,000 mindset.
I feel like
you think you're the whole rope.
If I was to expand on your tug of war analogy, which I think is really good, I feel like we wouldn't pull on that rope if they weren't pulling on the rope.
Right.
So like if they might be extreme, we're only pulling back to keep our half of the rope. If they weren't pulling, we wouldn't pull either. Because I mean, I'm not actively out protesting like the church down the street from my house. Like I'm generally not really worried about them until they put a sign up front of their church that says gay is bad. Then I'm gonna be like, yo, stop.
Then you got a problem. Yeah.
I will go over there. Like,
and they're not practicing their religion. And I think like to the fullest, they're kind of just doing this really capitalist kind of right-wing grifting of religion. They're not like fundamentalists who like actually believe and do, like, you know what I mean, like the Jehovah's Witnesses.
They're kind of like predators in their own religion.
Yeah, they're skimming, they're skimming passages, they're skimming money, they're skimming responsibility for malfeasance. They're just kind of pretending. And that was a big thing for me, is because like I looked around my like youth group and I was the only one that gave a shit. And like even the person teaching us didn't give a shit and didn't practice what they were talking about. I was like, oh, everyone's faking.
Oh my God.
Oh, so you're all faking and I was the only idiot taking this. Say less. I'm out of here.
That reminds me of another story, and I think I told it on Skeptic Haven already to Neil. But the whole youth group thing just reminded me.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like every Wednesday or something in the summer, this bus would go around to pick up all the kids in the neighborhood.
That's
and go
right,
to the local church and play games and stuff, dodgeball, all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that no kid is missing, right? Like, yeah,
Red
we're
Rover.
going.
Dude, dodgeball tournament? Are you fucking joking?
Yeah,
Get on the bus.
that's illegal now. In fact, is it even against like terms of service? Should I have just said like DB? Like, should we just start doing DB?
I don't think there's a dodgeball terms of service thing.
If there is, we're going down, baby, because
Just saying,
dodgeball is
schools
the
aren't dodgeball
greatest
anymore.
game ever.
And then I went like every week for like a year or something, and they wanted to reward me for that, and they invited me out to give me an award, and it was to a church during like a huge ceremony, and they had me come up, and I was like, wait a minute, I had no, I was so,
I'm not wearing pants.
yeah, I was so taken by the games and the other kids and the fun and the hanging out. I had no idea that I was being like
funneled,
like a kidnapper trying to get candy to a kid to get in the van. Like, that's what it felt like.
That's what it was.
And I never went back. I never went back.
They gotcha.
Almost. Yeah, almost.
I feel dirty now.
Slime balls.
I want to play dodgeball.
I'm about to
Yeah,
say,
no, I want to play dodgeball. Yeah.
What's this? The blasphemy against dodgeball is just something that I can't stand. It's a pure sport.
I've been
I
entertained
was always
my whole
the kid
life.
that everyone picked on, though. So I was always the one getting a dodgeball to the face, left, right, and center. So
You got to dodge, man. It's called dodgeball.
yeah, I wasn't very coordinated as a kid, Mikey. Come on.
I've been in the
Low.
entertainment industry most of my life. And we would go to a lot of different schools to put on shows and stuff for the students and things like that. And I'll never forget arriving the first time I arrived at a school in Toronto, in the middle of their gym class. And sorry, I missed that. What was that? Thirsty what?
I watched The Bin. I saw how thirsty you were.
The Bin is my podcast network.
Yeah. I'll never forget walking into a gymnasium to like do a site inspection quick before it begins setting up, and they were in the middle of gym class, and they were playing badminton with safety glasses.
What?
And I was just like,
you know what?
Seriously,
I'm
what?
not mad. I'm not mad at it because I used to play basketball in middle school, and the girls would scratch the dog shit out of me. And you're giving them weapons, so yeah, you know what? Safety goggles on because
I'm just
kids are
saying,
not
we
coordinated.
they used to give us all these planks with wheels on them, and
Yeah.
like these hard orange balls to chuck at a hockey net while we rolled around on our asses and tackled each other. Like, and now it's like safety glasses, and I can only imagine what it's like today. In fact, I'm actually still amazed that there's still a gym class happening. But
Well, that's why we all have psychologists and chiropractors and everything. Like, we're all beat up.
did you guys
We
ever have?
survived, but only
Did you guys
just.
have the parachute in gym class?
The best day
No,
was
that was
parachute day.
Oh
Didn't
my
have that
God,
when I
when
was
that
a kid.
parachute came out and everyone pulls and you do the cat and mouse. You ever do cat
Oh,
and
yeah.
mouse?
Yep.
One kid goes under the parachute, the other kid
Yes.
goes on top of the parachute, and the other kids just shake it like crazy while they try to
Such a fun
catch
game.
you. Like, we're talking full on elbow drop on a gymnasium floor. Like, that's the games we were playing, man.
We used to bust out the lights because we put like a volleyball on the parachute and then pop it
Yeah.
up. We would just be like aiming for that son bitch, like, come on, hit it. Ugh, and just
Oh,
break the
man.
lights. I don't know why they let us do that, but it was
Yeah.
fun.
It was fun.
The parachute game was not a thing when I was a kid. That
It
came
didn't,
like probably
parachutes
about
weren't
5, 6
invented yet.
years afterwards. So
There was no parachutes yet.
yeah, they didn't invent parachutes back when
They
I
were
was
still
young.
they were using them all in World War II back then.
I used to- yeah,
They
I
needed them
used to
for
have to
Normandy.
Jump off the roof with an umbrella. Just to-
A little parasol, like from Wile E. Coyote.
yeah.
When I was in middle school, they had just finished cutting out the like rope climbing and the wall climbing stuff. Like,
Yeah, dude,
oh,
because
yeah,
it got
yeah,
bad,
yeah.
man. I remember doing the rope climb and all that shit, and I remember them taking it out. They needed to take it out because that was like a 20-foot
the shit was
drop
wired
on-
to this. Yeah, it was on the roof. Like
It was to like the rafters of a gym.
Yeah.
You can't just have kids climbing that shit and just free fall to their demise. And like, if they fall, they fall. Like, nah, dog.
I know.
my entire elementary school career, we had the big like racks on the walls, the
Yep.
peg hole things, the
Yeah.
ropes were there. Never once were they ever pulled out, ever. And I was
Yeah.
always like, when are we gonna do that? And never happened.
I think.
And now I know why. There's too many
That's
broken
how I got
legs.
my first rope burn. It's coming down one of those.
Oh
fucking
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They pulled them bitches down and said, "All right, tug of war time, kids." Insurance is not covering us dropping 8-year-olds 30 feet onto their necks. So
Yeah, I don't really remember any kids falling from those things, and don't.
well, you
remember
wouldn't
hearing
remember,
about it
Neil.
either.
You hit your head when you fell, remember?
You don't remember. No witnesses.
Oh yeah,
It's like the flashy thing, the neuralizer from fucking Men in Black. How was school today? Pickles. Like, okay, all right, no more rope and gym class.
Where am I?
Pork and crust children.
Yeah.
Go learn your numbers now.
Tons of mice. Tons of mice. I don't know who this person is, but they better have a YouTube channel and doing shows, man. This is the best. I like
He's
this.
just
It
comment
sucks
king.
when there's big racks and nothing gets pulled out.
Yeah.
So good.
No airplanes when Neil was in school.
No. Until the spirit of St. Louis and Lindbergh crossed the Pacific.
The Wright brothers were in his class.
It'll never get off the ground, they said.
Until I ran up and booted them. There you go.
Well, if you could go back in time and talk to previous believer you, I mean, you just kind of walked away anyway, but if there was something you could whisper in their ear to help them on their non-belief path, what would you say?
I know. Eat more Jesus crackers.
Yeah, probably.
Take more than one.
Grab a fistful.
Yeah. They can't stop you.
That's what never mind.
I probably would have told myself that there was a world that existed that wasn't Catholic, because I really didn't realize. I thought everybody was doing the shit that I was doing.
Yeah, somewhere right around Proxima B, I think.
Yeah. So if I could go back in time to kind of be like, yo, do this instead, I'd probably be that moment where I finished elementary and I got to choose the high school I wanted to go to. I probably would have just been go to in my city, there was a non-religious French high school I could have gone to.
Right.
I could have totally just went there. But for some reason, the reason wasn't random, actually. The reason I went to the French Catholic high school, because all of my friends were going to the French Catholic high school.
Right.
So if I can go back in time and tap my shoulder and be like, hey, you remember me? Don't.
I'm you. Yeah. And then reach out and touch his face.
Yeah. I actually think I'd be more successful if I hadn't gone to Catholic high school. I mean, so in Canada, if you didn't know, our taxes do pay for Catholic school, just for the record. If you didn't know that.
Unfortunately.
So almost
tried
a
to
third.
Change that too, by the way.
I hope so. So a third of our educational money goes to Catholic schools, and yet only 25% of our population goes to those Catholic schools. So they're equipped. So there's opportunity there as far as learning and equipment and that kind of stuff. My Catholic high school was stocked, right?
Tech. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had all the newest stuff all the time. Before there was iMacs, they had Power PCs. Our entire computer lab was Power PCs. You remember those colorful Macintoshes, the ones that you get in different colors?
Yeah.
That was our computer lab. That's how. And we're talking
that's that fresh.
Them.
That's that fresh government spending money. Yeah. I remember when we got the makeover for our computer lab when we had the blue and the green and the yellow. I was like, holy shit, look at this.
Yeah.
And I had to make punch cards.
Yeah. And we had 40 of them.
Yeah, I had punch cards. Operator, give me number 9.
Here's the thing.
That was my phone number, 9.
Think of this though. So we had about 40 of these at the time. Would have been what, $2,500 for one of these machines?
Yeah, they were expensive.
The population of the school was 230 students.
Oh, y'all was rich.
So there was a computer for every 5 kids.
Damn.
In the 90s.
That's a good day. That's a good day.
Right?
Have fun on
Mavis
Beacon.
Cool, good for me. But then you see the Catholic or the private or the
there's a line
public
of Oregon Trail.
Yeah, and you see the public schools, they don't even have music classes anymore. And I think that's terrible.
That's the way of things, though. Like they're putting more and more money, like public money, into charters and vouchers and stuff like that, and vouchers and stuff like that. So what ends up happening is you just pull some of the money out of the public school to give people an opportunity to pay for the private school. It's like, well, they don't get computers because you took one kid and put him into the rich school. Well, that doesn't help at all.
Yeah. Well, the Catholic schools aren't technically private, right? Like you can choose to go to a Catholic school here.
That's true. It's true.
But
ours are
what a
private.
I
choice
was
to make.
this close to going to one, even
Yeah.
as a Jewish kid. My mom's like, "Well, it's a private school. You should go there. We don't like your friends at the regular school." I'm like, so I went in and intentionally fucked everything up so they wouldn't take me.
Yeah.
So I ended up still in private school. Then they shipped me off to Israel to go to grade 11 and 12. So
Yeah, actually, if you want to be like go to a Jewish school, then you got to pay. It's not that's private. all the way.
yeah.
then
Hey, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Hi,
But it-
little Neil. What's your last name? Satan. All right, we're just gonna stop the interview right now. He is not coming to this school.
Nilica Satanica.
no, there's for a Catholic school in Canada, there's no interview process or approval or money changing hands, nothing. You just choose the one you want to go to and you go. In fact, they have a better transit or transportation system on top of that. You go to public school in at least where I lived, you had to get your own ass to school.
Oof.
Catholic school, nope, the bus will be right at the door of your house to pick you up.
Yep.
No joke.
Must be
Yeah,
nice.
no school buses here. Well, we do have them here, but only for the private schools, not for the public. It's all get your ass on the fucking Sky Train or the bus or whatever and go.
Sky
Yes,
train.
that's right, folks. We have a train that flies through the sky. No, I'm just kidding. It's just
That's
The private
amazing.
schools in my immediate area, like Niagara and Toronto, all the students that go there, none of them live here. They're all from out of country.
And on that note, we got to bring this to a close because we got to do the after party. And Justin,
Yeah.
you are able to join us for the after party. You're not obligated to.
I wouldn't miss it. I wouldn't miss it.
All right, good.
Sweet.
That means I can. Just kidding.
Have fun. We won't be there.
But dude, I want to thank you for coming and joining me and Mikey. And I didn't realize that you didn't know who this clown was. So it's good. Good for you
I
to
saw
meet him.
I saw him last week when you guys did your show with. Sorry, I forgot who your guest was. And
That was Mike.
and I was
We're No Gods.
There
yeah,
you go.
and I remembered the question, the time traveling
Great guy.
question. So I was
Damn
like
it.
prepared for it.
He was
Oh, there you
ready.
go.
I did
It
homework.
had nothing to do with flapjacks. All right.
I wasn't.
but-
I did not prepare for flapjacks. That was. Just
No one prepares for flapjacks.
I
comes out
am
of nowhere
renaming my
when you least
channel to
expect
Skeptic
it.
Flapjack.
The skeptic flapjack. Yes. By the way, everyone, I have all of because I didn't know he had a fucking link tree. But anyway, I have all his links down below. He's got both of his channels there. Where one of it's about computers and gaming, the other one's the Skeptic Spin, which I was on recently, and also I've got his Facebook if you want to haunt him over there, or his X and Twitter, which he probably doesn't use if he's anything like me now, and Blue Sky and whatnot. So you can go connect with him there, and if you like what you heard, send him a
Yeah.
friend request.
Well, next
Deconversion Flapjack.
next week on the 27th, I've got Aaron Ra coming on.
Yeah.
He's going to face my tableau of YouTube shorts and debunk and react to that.
Cool.
And then a couple days after that, I've decided that the world is a shitty place and I'm sick of looking at all the trash and the garbage. So we're going to do something a little bit more fun and positive. And I have made Pragmatic Crystal the center of my attention.
Oh, yeah.
Because Pragmatic Crystal is such a huge supporter of, if you didn't know, over 50 other channels.
Yeah.
And it's,
Crystal's a gem.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's
I
a
see what you did
thankless
there.
job, but I can say we don't thank the mods in general enough. So I've focusing on just PC for this one, and it's going to be all about thank you, Pragmatic Crystal, and we're going to play some games, have some fun. It's the end of the year, and I can honestly tell you of all of the shows that I've put on and done and I prepare for, I've never worked as hard on a YouTube video live stream as I have for the Pragmatic Crystal one.
Yeah.
Come check it out on the 30th. On the 30th of December.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out with us. Appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with us. And Crystal, Mikey and I both appreciate you just as much as this guy here for what you do for us and all the channels that I see you spamming on.
everywhere.
Fantastic.
She's everywhere.
Good spamming, by the way, not
Yeah.
bad spamming.
Love spams.
And all you other mods out there, we haven't forgot about you.
Everyone in my
we're
chat
gonna-
is a mod.
I'm gonna get you. Don't worry, we're coming around. Don't the Titan Uranus, you're on the list, buddy. Don't worry.
Titan's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did activate the stream bot for Streamlabs, but I haven't seen it come out yet, so we'll try and work on that. So,
It works in the background.
oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
We got to. I'll tell you in a minute. But I got to get my groceries. Land
there's
the
nothing
plane.
there. What are you talking
Land the
about?
plane. My groceries.
Oh,
are
right.
delivered.
All right, guys. Thanks to all our members for being members, and there are multiple ways you can help out the show. I got rid of Patreon because they went and did the whole you can only use the Apple fucking bullshit now. So no more Patreon, but we do have members, and we will have tips coming up soon if you want to help out. Those are a couple of ways, and also you can drop cash in my PayPal if you want, or you can just like and share and subscribe, just like Crystal put down below there. That also helps. Until then, like I always say at the end of the interview part of the show, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.